Shalom, Holy Blossom. This week's Torah portion, Shlach Lecha, tells of the dramatic time when the Israelites were east of the Jordan River and preparing to return to the land of their ancestors. God instructs Moses to send one representative from each of the 12 tribes of Israel so they could scout out the land and report back. He says to them, "Go up there into the Negev and on into the hill country and see what kind of country it is. Are the people who dwell in it strong or weak, few or many? Is the country in which they dwell good or bad? Are the towns they live in open or fortified? Is the soil rich or poor? Is it wooded or not? And take pains to bring back some of the fruit of the land," for it happened to be the season of the first ripe grapes. After 40 days of scouting, the 12 returned, carrying the bountiful fruits of Israel on their shoulders. 10 of the 12 stepped forward and gave this account. "We went into the land to which you sent us, and it does indeed flow with milk and honey. Here are some of its fruits. But the people who dwell there are powerful, and their cities are fortified and very large." Midrash Tanchuma suggests that these 10 scouts misunderstood Moses' intentions. When he asked them to inquire, "Are the towns open or fortified?" he didn't mean that a fortified town was an indication of strength. Moses did not imagine that stone walls would be difficult to conquer. He did not believe that high walls of protection would be symbols of strength of the people who hid behind them. Just the opposite. If the people lived in fortified towns, then it would show them to be weak somehow, weak of character, weak of will. That is to say, people who close themselves off and lock the gates are not strong. A strong person lives with his and her vulnerability, out in the open. A strong person can discern when it is time to put herself out there in order to stretch and grow. A strong person knows when it is time to be even a little bit uncomfortable for the sake of learning. Even more so, the Hasidic teaching in Toldot Yaakov Yosef suggests that a truly strong person is the one who comes out from behind the walls and walks openly and confidently and says to himself, "Maybe I will see something out here that I can fix." When the 10 spies reported, "But the people who live there are powerful and the cities are fortified and large," they got it wrong. The people were not powerful. Those walls were a sign of their weakness. A powerful person does not isolate himself from the world, but is a part of the world. Friends, most of us have been living behind protective walls for 1.5 years now. God help us. And it was the right thing to do. It was the healthy thing to do. It was the responsible thing to do when there was no vaccine. Now, thank God, and thanks to scientists, the vaccine is becoming readily available even here in Ontario. And I understand that next week this will become even more so. So as soon as you are eligible, claim this shot at life on the other side of the walls of our homes. It is a sign of your strength to do so now, to be a part of the world and to say, maybe there is something out here I can fix. Maybe there is someone out here who needs me now. So what about those 2 scouts, the minority view? Joshua and Caleb stepped forward and they hushed the people and they said, "Alo na'aleh, we shall surely go up. Ki yachol nuchal la, for we are certainly able to do it." Joshua and Caleb were rewarded for their optimism, for their well-timed readiness to advance with faith in themselves and faith in their God, to lay claim to the life that was awaiting them in the land flowing with milk and honey. They were rewarded with long life for this optimism, for this strength. They were the only two. What was their reward? They were the only two who knew life both in Egypt and life in the land of Israel. Everyone else died in the wilderness along the way. So let us hear the hopeful call of Joshua and Caleb, the heroes of this week's Torah portion. There is a time to be optimistic, still careful and smart, of course, and following all the protocols set by medical experts. Now is such a time. It can be awkward at first, even worrisome, to step out from behind our walls and that we have created during this time of real danger. But remember the teaching of Midrash Tanchuma. Who is the strong one? The ones who know when to live without walls. The ones who know when it is time to go out into the world and say with readiness and willingness and ability and enthusiasm, who needs my help? We are preparing at Holy Blossom Temple. In great collaboration, in lockstep with one another, our professional and lay leadership are working day and night to prepare for a year of joyful reunion. In the coming days and weeks, you'll be hearing more about our plans for a slow and steady return. Our first priority will always be to keep everyone healthy and safe and to provide you with maximum flexibility and options. We will continue to be guided by our COVID cabinet and our panel of medical experts. Now is the time for optimism. Alo na'aleh, we shall surely ascend. And with God's help, we too will be blessed with long life. Shabbat shalom, and be well.